On Christmas night, when warmth glowed through every window across Chicago and families gathered around tables filled with laughter, a young woman named Hannah Reeves sat alone in a quiet corner of a restaurant. She stared at the untouched plate in front of her as snow drifted outside like pieces of fragile hope falling from a sky too distant to hear her prayers. She never imagined Christmas could feel so hollow, so painfully silent, as if the entire world had somewhere to belong except her. It had been the hardest year of her life. Losing her job and her mother only weeks apart had left her spiraling in a kind of loneliness she couldn't explain. Her savings were gone, her friends consumed by their own lives, and her apartment felt more like a cold museum of memories than a home. The silence there swallowed her whole, so she escaped to this restaurant, hoping the warm lights and soft carols might convince her she wasn't completely invisible. But the truth pressed heavily on her chest. She felt forgotten, unseen, completely alone. Across the room, families exchanged gifts and shared plates of turkey and cranberry sauce. Servers moved gracefully as the scent of gingerbread drifted through the air. Hannah tried to focus on her cup of coffee, warming her hands around it just to feel something. Her mother used to sing carols while they baked cookies in their tiny kitchen, using old aluminum trays that always bent at the corners. Christmas used to be magic. Now it felt like a reminder of everything she'd lost. She lowered her gaze, fighting back the sting in her eyes, until she heard soft footsteps approach. She assumed it was a server, but then a small voice broke through the quiet. "Daddy, why is that lady sitting alone on Christmas? Can we help her, too?" Hannah blinked and looked up. A little girl, no older than 6, stood beside her in a red polka dot dress, holding a candy cane. Beside her was a tall man in a cream-colored sweater. His expression was apologetic, but kind, genuinely kind. She would learn later that his name was Michael Carter, a single father who had also endured a difficult year of his own. Michael tried to gently pull the little girl back, but she shook her head and stepped closer. Hannah felt something twist inside her at the sincerity in the child's eyes. There was no pity, just pure, innocent warmth. Before Hannah could gather her voice, the girl placed the candy cane on the table. "Merry Christmas," she said softly. Something in Hannah cracked. Not in pain, but like ice melting under sunlight. She couldn't speak. Her throat tightened with emotion she had buried for months. Michael offered a gentle smile and asked if she would like some company. Hannah hesitated, unsure if she deserved kindness from strangers. But before she could decide, the little girl slipped her small hand into Hannah's. And suddenly, for the first time in months, she felt connected. Present. Seen. They pulled up a chair, and before she knew it, Hannah wasn't alone anymore. The little girl, Grace, talked excitedly about the gingerbread house she tried to build that morning, insisting her snowman looked more like a dinosaur. Michael watched them both with quiet gratitude, as if seeing Hannah smile eased something in his own heart. He shared that he had lost his wife 3 years earlier. Christmas had been hard for him, too, and it was Grace who helped him find reasons to keep going. As Hannah listened, she began to open up about her own losses. Michael didn't interrupt or judge, he simply listened, and Grace leaned against her arm as if offering comfort in the way only a child could. Hours passed without Hannah realizing it. The restaurant lights dimmed for closing time. Guests filtered out one by one. Outside, snow began falling again. Michael offered her a ride home. Normally she would have refused, but something about the warmth she felt, the sincerity in his eyes, the gentle way Grace held her hand, made her say yes. They walked out together, hand in hand with little Grace between them. The streets glowed with white lights wrapped around the trees. Inside Michael's car, soft Christmas music played, filling the silence with something that felt almost magical. When they reached Hannah's apartment, she felt a surprising sadness at the thought of the night ending. Grace leaned forward and hugged her tightly. "You'll see us again, right?" she asked hopefully. Hannah smiled, promising she would. Michael handed her a small paper bag of cookies Grace insisted she take. "No one should feel alone on Christmas," he said softly. Inside her apartment, Hannah set the cookies on the table and sank into her couch. But for the first time in a long time, the room didn't feel empty. It felt warm, alive, hopeful. She thought of Michael's quiet strength, Grace's innocence, their unexpected kindness. And she realized something important: life hadn't forgotten her. Hope hadn't abandoned her. It had simply been waiting for the right moment to return. As snow fell softly outside, Hannah whispered a small prayer of gratitude. Christmas had given her something she didn't know she still deserved, a chance to feel human again. A chance to feel seen. And maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something beautiful.